Welcome to your 2025 financial astrology personalized report for your zodiac sign. You guys have seen Christina come on the channel. You know we've worked together. Some of you have seen her on Lada's channel as well. She is a master astrologer at what she does. She helps me out every month. For those of you who have been subscribed to the monthly newsletter and you've seen the different levels of financial astrology for the different dates, you guys are going to get that. And if you haven't experienced that, you're going to love it because what you're going to get are breakdowns for the different dates throughout the months of 2025 in which certain activities are going to likely affect your chart. Now, this is generalized in the sense that it's based on each zodiac sign, and each zodiac sign has 30 degrees. So if a particular planet or point is aspecting a degree that's further away from any significant points in your chart, you might not feel it as dramatically. But if it is directly on, let's say, a planet or your ascendant, midheaven, I see, certain points that are important, then you're very much going to feel these. All right. So many of you guys watch, zodiac analysis for the month or the week from different astrology channels. This is for the entire year. So you can use this in a variety of ways. Looking at the sun sign, you can look at career. And the sun is more of where we're trying to come home to from an astrology perspective. So you can use that more from reflecting from the more, let's say, prefrontal cortex conscious side of what do you want to do with your life, your career, your legacy, your 10th house, right? The ascendant, absolutely important to look at to see how your life is generally going to be affected, right? To see how your finances are going to be affected in terms of the life path moving forward ahead for the year. And the moon is also going to reflect how you adapt to those changes throughout the year. Your internal subjective experience, your needs, things related to the home, and let's say even the feminine people in your life. Your daughters, mothers, moms, aunts, those types of relationships as well. And the things that you need in particular. So take a look at all three of the zodiac signs. If you've bought all three, great, wonderful. If you've just got the one for your ascendant or sun, that totally and completely makes sense for finance. So we're going to go through. We have big changes coming this year. It's a fantastic time to have this report because if you've heard me talk about this, we're going to have larger outer planets, which we can't see with the visible eye. Those move very slowly and they govern generational shifts. A lot of them are changing signs in 2025, which means we have a lot of generational shifts coming. And Christina is going to prepare you guys for how to adapt with that from a career perspective, life perspective, financial perspective. She's looked at stocks. She's looked at how this affects the different signs, and we'll dive in to the Mars retrograde. We'll dive into the nodes and the change that they've made into Pisces and Virgo. For those of you who don't know, the nodes affect where we are dramatically pulled towards for an 18-month period. We can see that when the nodes were in the sign of Aries and Libra, that's the zodiac sign of diplomacy and the selfishness, conflict. We've seen those types of narratives proliferate in the world, have we not? Before that, the nodes were in Gemini and Sagittarius. Sagittarius is law, order, and religion. We literally had schools and churches shut down. And what did we see? We saw social media go crazy. So those are examples of where we're karmically pulled. You guys are going to find out how that's going to affect you and the signs of Pisces and Virgo, which have a lot to do with letting go and endings and things related to taxes, debt, and service. She's broken down how that affects each of the 12 signs and how that'll affect you financially. And again, you can relate this to career and life path. So you guys are completely set here with the big changes. Neptune joining the North Node she'll cover. She's going to talk about when Mars moves direct. She's going to talk about Jupiter, the planet of expansion, where we get blessings and wisdom and growth, and how that shifts signs in the middle of the year. Right, so she's going to cover the change of Saturn, the planet of where we have to slow down and let go and stop and rest and restrict things and get efficient. Right, a lot of people are afraid of Saturn. After this, you're not going to be afraid of Saturn. You're going to know exactly how to use the energy of restriction and delay and patience and using what you have to get the best out of it and taking a pause and a rest. She's going to cover how to use that energy for your finances, career, life path. There's a lot here for you guys to use. If it were me, I would be using this more so than what the normies do in terms of their New Year's resolutions that fail in 3 weeks. I would sit down with this stuff. If you get it, before the end of the year, look at this around the time of the solstice. The time when, Jesus was, gone for 3 days. With that mythology, same thing. Maybe you take 3 days and just spend time with this report and plan out, what do I really want to accomplish with my life or career for the next year? Or what are the things that I can use this report to plan around? What are the things that I was already planning for 2025? Maybe should I shift dates here or there? This is what you use it for, to give yourself an edge to live better and to live with ease, right? So there's a lot changing in 2025. We want you to use this report to the fullest to make the most money you can so that you come back in 2026 and use that report and you're able to, even help share what you have experienced and accomplished with this report in 2025 with others, those that you love, those that have the savvy enough to use this information. Because this is not necessarily for beginners. We're blending two disciplines of finance and looking at markets, understanding of personality, career. This woman has done nursing, feng shui. So there's a lot in terms of remedies that the average astrologer might not even be aware of that she's even included and she'll be talking about. So this is a total treat. Use it. I'll be using it. My influence is here, hers is here, and we've given you the best that we can. And so with that, Christina, please tell us more about what you did and how they can use this and how it can benefit them.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much to actually supporting us and purchasing, what we are doing with Sama together. All right, so what I have to tell you guys, when I finished actually the financial astrology course, I understood everything astrologically, right? But I had to get into finances and I had to start to study. So I became a certified financial practitioner, not advisor, practitioner, because it didn't take a lot of time to become that one. So, and then I started to also analyzing stock and I started to get into it to understand, because of if you understand astrology, you still don't understand finances. So I was like, how can I give advice or how can I actually analyze something what I don't know about, and see the patterns and everything. So I had to go back. And whenever I do the research, for Sama and when we do it together, I go back and do the research 10 years back. So it is a lot of work behind. The way I wrote, and actually I'm not going to talk about each individual sign. Sama, you're going to actually summarize that for them right now in this video. But I wrote about 45 pages for each individual sign. The best is to purchase that for your rising sign, but actually you can purchase it all and give it to your friends as well if you would like to. But the other thing is I would recommend that to purchase it for your rising, after your sun sign, and after your moon sign. So on the other hand, what I really wanted to say over here, you already talked about the career and but this is really finance based. It is, guys, I went really deep into to giving you opportunity to watch out for market and which companies to watch for, which companies to invest in, and I checked it each of them individually. So a lot of sweat and blood went into this, and I analyzed all of it. You also have to understand many of those companies doesn't have the right rising sign. It's a lie. If they say they have the right rising sign, many times we don't, okay? So, but anyway, we still can understand the aspects and the signs, and it still correlate with you. If by energy it's going to trine or sextile with your ascendant sun or moon sign, it is going to be a good watch for you actually to invest in. So you have to understand the language of finances. And that's why I and I went to learn actually and became certified a financial practitioner, because I didn't necessarily understand the language 4 years ago when I finished the course. the astrology course, but right now I do. So you need to understand the language. And even if you understand the language and if you are an investor, you still do your own research. I don't see your chart. I don't see your personal chart. This is a whole sign tropical astrological, um, you know, like it's a booklet actually, because 45 page or 50 pages is a booklet. And I went through the major events. So I'm talking about Mars is ingressing back in Cancer. I'm talking about real estate market, properties. You know, why is it great to invest in properties? People usually say when Jupiter goes to Cancer, and I say it as well, property prices are blooming and going up. In my case, and what I realized over here, because at one point it's going to trine the North Node in Pisces during the year, and because of that, and Mars going back to retrograde also in Cancer, the beginning of the year, where Mars is going to be in retrograde and fall. So it could actually decrease for a little while the interest rates, right? And also it will give us more inventory. Why? Because Cancer, Jupiter is exalted. Yes, it could bloom the market, but more single family homes going to be available for the people. And because trining with the North Node in Pisces is compassionate, serving the underprivileged. So there it's going to be some kind of political, effect where it's going to be served for the public, for the middle class. So this could be really good opportunity to invest, right? I'm talking about NVIDIA. I'm talking about cryptocurrency. I'm talking about technology and technological investment and AI. I'm giving you each companies what to watch for, even when it could decrease or increase. Because obviously, the lunar eclipses in our life, it is a negative fated event. We cannot control that, all right? So when it's coming up and it's even squaring or opposing to your sun sign or to your moon sign, it could create some kind of financial struggle. So should we be scared? No, it's not a scare technique over here. You prevent and you preserve. You preserve your money. You invest and move the money somewhere else. So here is an opportunity. You read actually what I wrote about. You analyze it on your own. You make your own conscious decision. It's very, very important. Okay. And then you will see if you need to move actually that big amount of money and where to move it, because there is opportunity to move in something else, because nothing gonna break in once, for example. So we have to understand, right? So for example, if crypto does well and technology does well, and perhaps the gold and silver gonna go down a little bit at the beginning, but it will climb back, right? So you don't have to necessarily um, panic. I would say never panic, because actually, if you are making financial decisions, and I did, and I lost, then if you are panicking, then you're losing money. And then crypto came back, and I was like, you know, wanted to go to the wall, like hit my head into the wall, because I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And actually, I could really, really gain a lot of money, and I lost because I panicked. Oh, it's going down. Okay, let's sell it. Okay, but on the other hand, never panic, but always make conscious decision. Ask your inner child, ask your financial advisor, go to your financial advisor. That's very, very important. Someone who really knows about investment and stocks. There is a lot of people. Find your people and make your decision through that. But what I'm giving over here, Chainlink, Ethereum, compass pathway, medicine, because of North Node is going to go to Pisces. Right now, we're going to shift from military and gun and ammunition stack toward actually more like holistic medicine and more like anything to do. And I said that before in my videos, we really going to value holistic, and we're gonna try to heal the world and going to be more compassionate. Toxin is coming out from our food, for example. So try to find stocks. Watch for new stocks, actually. When Uranus gonna go to Gemini, and Pluto is already, when we're recording that on the 15th of November, uh, in 4 days, Pluto going to go for 20 years in Aquarius, and because of that, there is going to be new AI stocks, anything to do with virtual realities as well. So you can watch those quantum AI and watch how does it work and how does it going to affect your sun, moon, and rising sign. And if it is affecting you by trine or sextile, go ahead because it could be a really good investment. Always check your fifth house, 11th house, eighth house, and second house, guys. If you have something positive over there with a trine and a sextile, go ahead because it's also financial abundance over there. On the other hand, I'm also talking about new stocks going to come up, and it's going to be something to do with medical field, new kind of medicine. As I told you before, it's going to be something with computerized blood test on the blood, on the computer, going to analyze your health. Those stocks going to be really, really great. Just watch for it. Okay, I'm writing about this. Also, if you would like to, you can also watch for some kind of data analysis stock. And I actually know one, so watch for that if it's going to go to stock market really soon. What was the Dubaian Prince bought, and it is an analysis of the healthcare data of every single people, and it was sold for 1.6 billion, and it's coming to stock market because of they going to have our data. Obviously, it's there, it's computerized. It's gonna be easier actually to get Medicare, not Medicare, but um, to to go to the telemedicine doctor, which is going to analyze everything through technology. So technology going to bloom, and healthcare also going to bloom, and real estate as well. But real estate going to have a different kind of blooming. It's not necessarily the price is gonna become in bubble. It's going to be more like that. It's going to be a lot of construction work. And that's why check the numbers, for example, because of obviously, it's related. So you always have to think before you invest, because I don't want anyone to lose money, but I'm giving you a lot of opportunity to watch, for example, movies or Netflix, anything to do with Roblox, because of it's going to the gaming. Gaming is coming back again, not just because Pluto is in Aquarius and it's going to have a lot more like, what is that, Fortnite and multiple platforms like that coming up. I always forget them. But those gamings coming back as well, and Netflix coming back because of Pisces rules movies, Pisces rules anything to do with media as well, right? And actually, Jupiter rules that in the Sagittarius, it could be media as well. But because Jupiter rules Pisces as well, and Jupiter gonna get exalted, you have to understand when I wrote the 45 pages for you guys. I checked actually not only the planet, what does it rule and where it goes, and is it going to be exalted, or actually Saturn going to lose its strength and malefic strength because of it's going to go in fall in Aries. But for example, Saturn is deflation, and it also rules, for example, coffee, right? So we might going to have some kind of issue with coffees around May, end of May, coffee plantations. So it could decrease the prices or increase, check it, because if it's less coffee available, it could increase the stock prices. So just check how does it move the very beginning, and then you are capable to invest. The most important is when you hear some news, check right away the stock. Where is it going that day? And it's gonna go up or down because the moment the news comes out, for example, I understood that when we had the October 7th situation between Israel and Palestine, in 5 hours later, the gun stock went up crazy, like crazy. So if you hear a news and if you are like, all right, it could be great for me to invest over here, um, just go ahead and check your booklet, what we brought over here, check the sectors. I'm talking about sectors. I'm talking about, if it is positive change, if it is negative change. We do have a lot of changes during 2025 and definitely pharma, but I would think more like holistic pharma going to go well. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So a few nuances or additional perspectives to what Christina beautifully laid out in terms of how to use the report and what to expect coming up. With news, sometimes you'll even see markets start to move before news comes out. Like we actually saw this April of 2024. I saw the gold price moving, and then a couple of days later, there was an attack between, Israel and Iran, which I even talked about. Well, moving money is often sometimes a sign that something might actually happen because, well, people need to be paid for these attacks and stuff. So, a lot of what you'll hear in the news, particularly with Jupiter and Gemini, which has a lot to do with news and information, news is going to move markets. So, again, to what Christina said, don't panic. You guys might see very sharp movements in 2025. Not might, you will. You absolutely will. If you have been following the interviews in which I've talked about the cycle that we're going into to 2025, it is going to be, generally speaking, an up year. For those of you who've been watching US politics even a little bit, you know who the coming president is going to be if he survives and lives through his term, which is a different topic we won't get into. This is the most money printing president the United States has ever had. So 2025 is going to be a year in which many markets and assets, stocks, cryptos, like Christina mentioned, are going to do very well. You're already seeing some of this because of those who know what Trump is going to do. The moment he was elected, crypto and the stock market started to move up. What you guys need to understand, which I'll add to, is that Neptune, when it moves into the sign of Aries, is very inflationary. So we're going to have an inflation story to deal with during the latter parts of his presidency and the latter parts of his decade. So for now, you guys have the benefit and the advantage of the stocks that Christina has picked out because, again, this is not financial advice, but if money is being printed and that money is going to end up in the stock market, it's probably going to end up in the stocks and the assets and the sectors that Christina have identified because that's why we do this, you guys. So please benefit from this, use it to your advantage because it's very likely that if you don't, the price of everything you'll notice will likely be higher, and what you can actually purchase with your money will actually might actually be less. And this could even be the case in the real estate side of things as well, because it's all supply and demand at the end of the day. And the issue we have in the States is we don't have a lot of supply, which is in part why prices have gone up and they've bubbled. Right? So she used the word bubble. Will there be a bubble in real estate compared to other assets? It's not as likely that the bubble will be in real estate the way that it's been, particularly if they're increasing the supply, which is actually a good thing. Real estate doesn't necessarily need to be this investment vehicle. It's a place where people are trying to live and raise a family.
yeah.
So Jupiter in Cancer can really bring that energy back, which is what we as humans need. More single family homes, families and homes, right? That's the idea of real estate. So we'll likely see more of that rather than it being this big investment bubble. Where we'll likely see bubbles are the sectors she just told you. Gaming, AI, biotechnology. Absolutely. There's always one sector that is experiencing a bubble, just like the Pareto principle, if you've heard of that. If you go to Google, there's one search result that gets most of the traffic. If you go to YouTube, If you type astrology, you might see Lotta come up first. She gets a lot of the traffic. That's how the world works, you guys. And in the same respect, you've identified the stocks in the sectors that are likely going to soak up most of the energy and attention. So use that to your advantage. And if this is, again, this is not necessarily beginner information. So if you're reading through the PDF, the 48 pages, you're like, this is ingressing that, this is aspecting this. Whoa, I really bought something really technical and detailed here. I need some help. You guys can use Google GPTs now. They're not that bad. But of course, if you want to contact the people who wrote the report, reach out to Christina. She has a very busy schedule and calendar, particularly now as she's reaching out to and working with other astrologers that are bringing her on. So I advise you guys to get on her calendar earlier than later if you find that that's something you might need to further get into the specifics again of how this stuff will affect your personal charts, your personal degrees and planets and placements. Because while this is super specific to the 12 signs in a way that you won't get anywhere else, it's still not specific to your particular chart. And so we've given you as much as we can in a report that is not facing you here with us because, sitting with me, very expensive, as you guys know. And again, her time is becoming less and less available. So if you want that further breakdown where you want more help breaking the stuff down, super specific, urbanwitch.org is her website. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to her, and we'll give you that extra assistance. But with that, look at your rising, look at your sun, look at your moon in that order, and we will dive into your sign. And this, again, is made for your benefit. So good luck to you in 2025. Any last words, Christine?
Yes, actually, when you were talking, I just realized something because of we were talking about the inflation, right? Neptune actually in Saturn. Yes, so Saturn actually is deflation, Neptune is inflation, right? And actually, the US dollar going to have a Saturn return in Aries, where it's going to be because Saturn in Aries, it's in fall because it's exalted in Libra, right? So the Saturn return for the US dollar, and it's going to be most likely beginning of 2026, end of 2025, because it's gonna go up like middle late degrees, and Saturn is in 22 degrees in the US chart. So somehow it start to conjunct already because I'm always considering 8 degrees, but 3 degrees when I am like, okay, so right now it's going to happen really soon. But we're going to see next year the dollar end of the year to actually has some kind of trouble. And because I was talking about the BRICS nations, right? And they already have currency, and we're going to use cryptocurrency even to pay out and pay, or the crypto going to be taxed, obviously. They need to.
Absolutely.
But like crypto, they're going to be available to buy, purchase houses or anything. So it's gonna be a currency. And on the other hand, when we were talking about the houses and people asking why would it be more supplies, don't forget, North Node in Pisces serves the underprivileged. And also that is the veterans, right? Because Pisces rules the veterans, the ones who were fighting in war, right? And they become homeless because also rules the homelesses. And there is a lot of building. We were talking about that in one video with Sama, and a lot of people started to troll like it's not possible. How is it? Yes, it's gonna start the moment North Node is going in January. That it's going to be an indication. It's starting. It's nothing going to happen overnight, guys. It's not possible. It is a
And if you're
process.
here, you probably know that, right? You probably laugh at the trolls, maybe, or maybe you're one of them. You got converted, but you guys have to understand the whole purpose of what we're doing is to be ahead of things. So there will be things that maybe you're looking at the way the world is now today, and you're like, they're saying this is going to happen. Well, that doesn't necessarily make sense now. Well, that's the point, right? It's to help you guys prepare for the future. And so I think the person watching this, they're probably not a troll, or they probably get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most likely, and hopefully they get it. And also, you have to understand it's not happening exactly the day when it's increasing as ingressing a sign. Also, you have to understand the eclipse. The length of the eclipse is actually the years ahead it's going to affect. So it's not necessarily going to happen literally the same day. So it's a process, but it's starting when North Node ingressing Pisces, it's going to be more compassionate. We're going to take care of orphans. We're going to take care of, underprivileged, and the veterans going to have and moved in maybe the empty office buildings, because there is millions of empty office buildings, and it's going to be good for the construction workers as well, because they have to renovate. They have to make it livable, right? To put kitchens, cabinets in, or whatever, bathrooms. So it's going to bring in a lot more opportunity for work. And guys, truly, people who are working with hands, those are the ones who are going to keep the job for longer time, because AI is interfering, and AI going to be like, it could be amazing, really, but also going to get rid of a lot of jobs. And people who are working with their hands, they are still going to be in business for a long time.
If you have any doubts about that, you guys, please just look at what the internet has done to the industry. If you bought this, you're old enough, likely, right? You've
Yeah.
seen what the internet has done to newspapers. You've seen what's happened from 8 tracks to CDs, DVDs to Spotify. And the internet and technology is inherently disruptive. It is a characteristic of Uranus, which you've heard me talk about. Christina's probably talked about in interviews as well. So it's disruptive. And again, the use of astrology, which has an Aquarian element to it, it's futuristic. Sometimes the future and some of what might be coming is perceived as disturbing to people because it brings an element of change, which can get us into a bit of a Buddhist topic about how change is suffering and all this and all that. But
Yeah.
you're here because you know things change and you want to adapt in a way that serves you. Please understand that AI and tech will disrupt the way the internet has disrupted our lives with an exponent, exponentially, right? So, whatever you thought the internet did to our way of life in the past 30 years, AI is going to do that times 10. And instead of 30 years, it's going to be like 5 or 10.
Yeah, very, very quickly, because of Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus goes to Gemini. Air is fast. Just imagine actually the breeze, even the summer breeze, or the tornadoes, how fast and how disruptive it is.
The tech is
And
actually being held back, to be very
Mhm.
honest with you guys. It's being held back. I don't know if you guys heard like Elon talking to the owner of OpenAI ChatGPT like a year or two ago of like saying, hey, you need to stop. We need to talk about how AI can affect human beings. The AIs that can really change humanity and either for better or extremely worse, they're already in existence. They're already here. They're just being held back. When Uranus goes into Gemini, it is full speed ahead. The changes will come very quickly. And so ideally, you guys, particularly those who share the same values as us, holistic health, being kind to one another, understanding your own chart, living your life for your own purpose. Ideally, you're using AI and technology for that and not losing your mind because you will see some people going through that, to be very blunt. And I know we don't want to make this a big podcast about the future. This is again about you using 2025 and the work that Christina has built out in those pages and the summaries that I'm going to give you to your advantage. And again, not to panic, not to be afraid, but to go with the change and to use the changes of what's already happening to your benefit. I use the analogy all the time. You know winter's coming. The weatherman tells you it's going to rain. Grab an umbrella, grab a coat. Still do what you're going to do, but do it with the information of what you're going to be facing out there. That's what this is for. It's not to scare you.
Yes, exactly. That's only we wanted to say. Learn AI, learn about it. Don't be afraid about it, because that's the future. And also, just one more thing over here with ChatGPT, it is giving a lot of false answers, guys. You have to have knowledge to use ChatGPT. So it's not going to give you the right answers unless if you are programming. That's why you have to know and you have to have knowledge to program and use AI for the advantage of you to make your life easier, but without knowledge, it's destroying. So just make sure, like you are top of your game, and that's it,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. That's what this is for. Be on top of your game. And that's it,
All
you guys.
right. I hope you guys going to really like it, and I hope it will help you. Really, the most important to help, but do your own research as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's
Thank
dive in.
you.
So Gemini, we've got the North Node entering Pisces we talked about, and that's really going to be about legacy, what you're visibly seen in the world doing. From an investment perspective, what does this blend in? You can invest in your career. You can invest in your public standing. You can invest in how you look publicly. You can invest in promotion. You can invest in community projects because this is your 10th house in Pisces. And Pisces is all about community and sustainability, visionary thinking, social responsibility, companies that are socially responsible. And we have some of those listed out in the PDF, which I suggest you check out. You invested in it, why not, right? And these different ethical companies or sustainable companies, visionary companies, things like that, if you invest in them now, you might have to be a little bit patient because of Saturn's involvement in the sign of Pisces. But they very likely will take off if you can be a little patient with them and allow them to flourish and grow. This is where we get into Neptune's involvement and the conjunction with Neptune in the true node in Pisces and you not having rose colored glasses. It's very important because we're talking about money here in your Isama, that we talk about research and being real, right? And not just being, oh, let go and let God. That's great with Neptune, generally speaking. But when it comes to your money, you gotta do that research because Neptune can wash your money away if you're not careful and if the aspects are harsh. And that really depends on your own chart. I like Neptune conjunct the true node in Pisces in your 10th, but that's probably going to be squaring your first house and your 7th. So this might affect you in the relationships in some way, shape, or form. And I don't want it to bring in people who are selling you snake oil. We want to avoid the snake oil salesman, right? So you want to research the opportunities that come your way very carefully. Just like I've researched the opportunities that are going to benefit the most from Donald Trump's money printing in 2025 in my financial astrology investment selections report. So the ETFs, the stocks, the sectors that'll benefit the best from that. While we have some listed here that'll work well for Gemini, that report talks about timing the market and recommends assets with charts that are going to perform, right? So that's separate from opportunities that you might experience during the month of February. See, what I would suggest for you, Geminis, in February is looking at companies that blend spirituality and creativity together if you have a sense of clarity in what you're perceiving. If it doesn't quite make sense to you, maybe you don't want to touch it. Maybe you don't want to move forward with it. And that's just good investment advice, which I don't give investment advice. But that's just good investment advice in general, right? Do I even understand what I'm investing at all? Is going to be a good question for you in February. All right. So we've given some general examples of what a blend of a spiritual creative industry can look like. And the one we give a lot, me and Christina, is a wellness retreat because we like them. And it's a good way to obviously, wellness, Pisces, retreat is 12th house because it talks about endings. So, what also incorporates endings? Hospitals, Airbnbs, vacations, things like that, faraway countries, and film. Anything that has a sense of escapism, also, too, like certain drugs or pharmaceutical startups. Again, don't overestimate the potential returns that some of these companies can bring, but they can do very well. All right, so take a look at those. Now, Mars moving direct in Cancer in your second house of values, the voice, the throat, the face, the upbringing, your clothing, and your money. This is going to be good if you can focus on, because of Cancer in your second, you can focus on real estate here. Some of you guys. Now, Mars moving direct means you can move forward, and Mars is about you having to go and get what you want. So Mars talks about action, strategy, momentum. And so if you felt like you couldn't go after what you want since December as it relates to anything real estate, you want to time that for when Mars was direct at the end of February going into early March. Okay. So that's when that momentum will pick up. And also the momentum in your finances will pick up as well. Now, Mars is about going after things. So you don't want people going after your money. Watch out for that. Watch out for hackers, scams, and theft, you know? And Mars governs things like iron, coal, steel, diamonds, and construction. So if you own a construction company, if you want to start some construction in real estate, if you want to make some investment in metals, Cancer rules silver. Silver is going to do very well this decade. Again, check out my 2025 report if you want to know what's going to do what throughout the year. But we also have some sectors listed out that are going to do well in the commodity sector for you guys here. And so when Mars moves direct at the end of February, you can look at some of those companies that Christina and I have vetted out for you guys. Okay? So check out the strategy there. We break down the strategy. Again, I talk about construction, real estate, energy, all that's in there, I'm sure. And the different takeaways that I want you guys to understand is if you're feeling a slowdown in your finances in the beginning of the year, it's because Mars is in your second house. And once it moves direct, you want to get moving on stable industries, things related to construction, things related to real estate, and being bold. Okay, you can be bold with Mars, particularly if Mars is placed well. If Mars is not placed well in your chart, or if the moon is not placed well in your chart, you might want to be a little bit careful that you're not going too bold here, because Mars, traditionally speaking, is not the happiest in the sign of Cancer. All right, it'll get out of there eventually. I know Mars is spending quite a bit of time in Cancer, but when it moves forward, that's when you want to be more strategic about growing your finances, and you'll see and many of you will see finances naturally grow after March next year. However, then we deal with Venus retrograde in Aries in March. And the reason why this is going to be impactful for some of your finances is that the 11th house in which Venus is retrograding is a financial house. Okay. This is long-term finances. The 11th comes after the 10th, and the 10th house is considered the house of public, career, and legacy. So whatever you're seen in the world publicly doing, whatever money you get from that might retrograde or go under revision here. So there might be some delays or revaluation in terms of, because this is in your 11th house, in terms of what are my long-term hopes, goals, and dreams? What is in my retirement portfolio, to get really practical here, right? And where's my long-term source of income going to come from? So reassessing any investments, any group projects, any philanthropy projects, charities you donate to, things like that. You might want to reconsider that. Political organizations. Maybe you don't want to be a Democrat anymore. Maybe you don't want to be a Republican anymore if you're in the States, or if you're in different parts of the world. Maybe you hate Parliament now, or most people have always. Anyway, you'll figure it out in terms of political organizations or nonprofits. This would be a good time to revisit these things with Venus retrograde. As far as your own income goes, look, again, just use the energy to renegotiate terms, particularly with any agreements, any long-term strategic partnerships, people who are benefactors to you, who give you money, banking, mergers, anything. So Venus is all about good things that come from other people or things that are brought into our life. And the 11th house is networks, broader networks. It also talks about internet, and it also talks about long-term hopes, goals, and dreams. So any revising of things that you need to do in regards to that, great time to do that in March. Okay. Full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. This will be in your 4th house of home, family, and real estate. So this could affect hidden debts and the real estate market for you guys. So March is not the best energy to, let's say, I want to buy a home right now. Okay. And if you already have a home and you're doing construction or any renovation, you might experience some slowdowns in that, or a decline, or actually some issues in a real estate portfolio if you have that. So again, the reassessing that takes place with Venus retrograde might actually be included in some of that, particularly if you have group investments in real estate. Now, Neptune entering Aries is impactful because this is going to activate your 11th house. And as I'm seeing this activated throughout all of the zodiac signs in different ways, shapes, or forms. How is tech and AI involved in your portfolio? March 30th going into April might be the time to consider a look at that, particularly if you have a copy of my 2025 Financial Astrology Investment Selections Report. Okay, it might be a good time to look at the technological communication AI based recommendations in that report in April because of the timing of how your zodiac sign is being affected here. AI driven ventures make a lot of sense with Neptune and Aries in your chart. Neptune being very inflationary, those sectors are likely to do well over the next 14 years. And with this being in the 11th house of gains and long term income, it might be good to get positioned now for the next 14 years rather than to do it in year 13 or 14 when everyone else has made the money. And it seems like a no brainer, but really it's the end of the cycle. Don't be one of those suckers, right? You're with Sama, you're supposed to be ahead of the pack, not in the back of the pack. So, summing it up, Neptune and impact in your 11th house is really going to be good for community ventures, tech innovations, socially impactful projects. And if you're not paying attention to things, it could bring financial instability, hidden debts, or inflated promises that, again, you were warned to vet those things. All right. Then we got Venus moving direct, which is going to be fantastic. This is going to be in your 10th house of career. Awesome. Some of you guys are going to get promoted. Some of you guys are just going to, start looking good. You're going to be dressing up nice and looking good in the workplace. People are going to notice you more, and that's going to lead to other opportunities. Or you can use that energy to invest in beauty products. Maybe it's Maybelline or Sephora or all that type of stuff. Those companies in your portfolio might do very well during this time. Weight loss, this Ozempic stuff that people are talking about. If you have a position in that, maybe there's some bad news or a pullback in that type of stuff in the beginning of the year during Mars retrograde or Venus retrograde. And then perhaps when Venus moves direct, that stuff starts going up and there may be more good news. Right? Maybe you got some weight loss going on. You're getting complimented at work. It could be some of that. But from an investment perspective, Venus rules sugar and copper. Copper is going to do very well this decade. A lot of the metals are. So copper mining companies, we have some of them listed. You're going to want to check those out for sure. They're also listed in my Financial Astrology Investment Selections Report as well. But we've got them listed in here for you also. So check those out. As well as some AI companies also. And then we got crypto, Coinbase, we got Ethereum, Bitcoin, MicroStrategy. These are some of the plays that you guys might want to look at with the 11th house popping off in your chart as well. But with Saturn and Aries, by the time some of you guys actually get involved in some of these things, there might be some delays and you might need to be patient for some of these things to take off unless you already have accumulated certain positions in these sectors. So if you're new to the style of investing, be patient. If you've already got positioned, you might actually want to take some profits before Saturn moves into Aries, depending on how your portfolio is performing. That's a very specific advice for some of you. But Saturn in the 11th, what you're going to want to do this from a career perspective is, hey, maybe you're blending in some political connections. Maybe you guys are meeting more older authoritative figures, and that can be great. Maybe they give you some investment tips, advice, or things that you can invest in. And what that can look like is defense, political lobbying, community assets. We got some key companies that fit all of that too as well that you might want to consider. Then June, Jupiter entering Cancer. This is going to be in your second house. You're going to like this, most of you, because this is going to expand your personal resources. Okay. And so this is going to bring opportunities to improve the value of any current properties you might have if you are a property holder or owner, or if you have a real estate portfolio. It could be a good time to think about, how do I improve the portfolio? How do I beautify or expand the portfolio I already have? Do I add more real estate on? This could be one of the ways that you look at it. Cancer can talk about the family. So if the moon is placed in a good place in your chart and you like your family, some of you don't, but if you like your family, it's going to be a good time for you and your family to invest into something together. Start a family business, or you can invest in a family business. We have some listed like Costco, right? So you can check some of those out as well. And look into banking and financial services. One that I'm a huge fan of is Infinite Banking. There's a book. It's a black book. I have it. I have too many books. I don't know where it is because I just moved this year. But is his name Nolan? Anyway, it's a book. It's a black book. It's like, anyway, Infinite Banking. Look it up. It's using whole life insurance to create your own bank, and yeah. Anyway, that's an example of something you guys as a family can do together. I don't give financial advice though. Uranus entering Gemini, that's going to activate you guys in the first house. You guys are gonna shake it up. You guys are gonna become unpredictable. From an investment perspective, this can be investing in you, the body, surgeries, a different look, copping a new Neuralink strap. Some of you Geminis gonna be the first to try to Neuralink, and to be the first techno humans, which is I'm gonna be making a bunch of videos about how we might be the last version of normal human beings left. Sorry to tangent you guys if that's a little too weird, but you're Geminis. You might be cool with it. You guys might be the leaders of it, you know. So disruptive technologies and AIs, you know, investing in that, maybe being the first of the new human species, and showing us how it's done, that type of thing. Investing in crypto if you haven't already. Crypto is going to do very well for the first, let's say, 3 quarters of 2025. So, and then we have the eclipses in September. Good time to take profits if you're in crypto. More on that on my financial astrology investment selections report. I give specific information as to why and when. A lot of good companies to consider here during the eclipses that Christina's listed. You know, but what I really wanted to call out here with the eclipses is the new moon partial solar eclipse, because this is in the fourth. And while we have Jupiter and Cancer in the second, now we have a new moon opportunity happening in the fourth, which is related to real estate for you guys. So the second half of the year is particularly interesting for real estate. There could be some beginnings around June or so. And then with Jupiter and a new moon opportunity at the end of September, sextiling what's going on in the fourth house, it could be a great year for a real estate opportunity, and for either money or just for the family or for you to have some really lucrative or just beneficial for you endeavors and new beginnings related to real estate. So best of luck, Geminis. And Gemini, you guys have the North Node moving into the sign of Pisces in your 10th house on January the 11th. The 10th house is going to talk about career, public life, reputation, your legacy, the mark you leave on the world. And so from the financial perspective, this looks like career shifts for some of you. So some of you might experience shifts in your professional life that affect your financial stability. With the North Node here, this talks about being a year of realigning your career goals, potentially finding a more spiritually fulfilling job here. And so this could look like public recognition for some of you, recognition in your career possibly through public platforms, social media, film or media or art, or any creative endeavors that could be putting what you do out into the limelight a little bit more. This could lead to new job offers or promotion that really enhances income for some of you. Some of this will look like some social responsibility, community impact, or work of care or compassion. So this could look like investing in green or social or spiritual businesses, vacation rentals, Airbnbs, hotels, hospitals, healthcare. Just be mindful of financial stability of any of these ventures, you know, that they're actually making a profit, and it's not just about the compassionate side of things, because from a financial perspective, we don't want to fall victim to any illusions with Neptune's influence here as it moves into the 10th house on the 7th of February. This is going to look like new career opportunities in creative or healing professions for some of you. And some of you will naturally feel drawn to or get invitations or offers into roles that involve compassion, spirituality, or artistic expression. This doesn't mean you have to leave your job. For some of you, this could be, you know, a promotion or a job change or a project that ends up developing into something more community-based or more environmentally friendly, you know, or something ESG related or something like that. Again, you want to avoid get rich quick schemes here or any unclear investment opportunities related to career. So you really want to look these things through and vet these things out, okay? And then on the 24th of February, we're going to have Mars moving direct in your second house of finances, personal resources, and self-worth. Mars going direct in your second house really is going to energize the financial sector here, encouraging you to take assertive steps towards income, your expenses, and your resources. So in some cases, some of you might be spending a little bit more than you plan to. Right? This can be sudden expenses related to home, healthcare, property, childcare, taking care of young ones or even the elderly as well. So the influence here with the financial fluctuation, the family and home matters is going to be due to that Cancerian influence. But this can be a very good time for some of you to take a risk in a new business venture related to real estate. This might be something you were already thinking about, 3 or 4 months ago towards the end of 2024, maybe even in December. And now you might be noticing that this is the time to move forward with some of these ideas or ventures related to real estate, food or caregiving services, or investing in assets or companies that work on those types of topics or sectors. Okay, so Mars can really support initiatives there for the long term for financial security matters there. Then on March 14th, we'll have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your fourth house. This talks about home, family, and real estate. So this can be changes in property ownership for some of you, signaling a major shift related to real estate, maybe buying or selling a property here, which can directly impact your financial portfolio. This can look like family related expenses, an increase in family related obligations, maybe taking care of an aging parent or a young one, or investing in home improvements, making the home nice. This is in Virgo, so this could be related to the pantry or, just making the home safer as well, getting fire extinguishers or stuff like that. And then we have the end of family financial ties for some of you. So some of you guys might be closing the book on taking care of family members. Somebody might be moving out of the home. There might be a resolution of an inheritance issue or paying off a family or home related debt as well. Now, May 24th in 2025, we have Saturn entering Aries in your 11th house of friendships, social networks, long term goals, dreams, and income from the 10th house of career. So financially, that looks like Saturn wants you to really take a structured approach to your long-term financial aspirations. You might be making some older friends who might have some financial advice for you. Saturn in the 11th. It's a good time to make disciplined plans related to retirement, savings, or groups investments as well. And this might be taking some financial responsibility in your social circles or joining social circles, paying your way in or contributing or volunteering. Just be cautious of taking on too stringent financial burdens within your friend groups because Saturn can bring some challenges or responsibilities that can be pretty heavy related to shared financial goals in this sector. Now, for some of you, structured investments in technology will be the ticket for you here, where if it's particularly related to community or social causes, particularly if they're things maybe related to defense or modeling or art or acting or metals, these things, coffee could even be one. Saturn urges slow and steady growth here though, so any structured investments here, if they're for the long term, they can really be supported with Saturn in your 11th house of investments. Now, June 9th, we have Jupiter entering Cancer in the second house. This talks about finances, personal resources, self-worth, self-values, what you ingest, family, local upbringing. The financial impact here talks about income expansion. That's what Jupiter wants to do for many of you. And this can suggest potential growth in your income through new job opportunities related to real estate or home-related businesses. Maybe you're working from home more. Maybe you're investing in home-related businesses or companies that take care of home-related things like roofing or lawn mowing or, siding, those types of companies. Lowe's, you're investing in Home Depot, something like that. Increased spending could be the thing here as well. With expansion can be the risk of overspending. Right, so for some of you, Jupiter will increase your income. For others of you, Jupiter will just increase how much you're spending and eating. So watch out for that, especially as it relates to home-related expenses. Financial growth from family ventures is another way to use this energy. Some of you can benefit financially from family-owned businesses or investments, or like a caregiving service or something related to real estate or child rearing and nurturing related businesses as well. Now, July 7th, Uranus will enter Gemini in the house of you. And this can talk about your personal identity and new beginnings, your life path, and how people see you in the physical body. So Uranus can change your look, your appearance, and of course, your personal finances and how you approach them as well. So this may undergo a shift in how you think about money and even in the opportunities that you have and the way people want to pay you. Some of you might get more into freelancing. Some of you might get job offers or large sums of money now, intermittently, randomly through the business or the work that you're doing now. Innovative personal ventures for some of you, where you're feeling drawn to more unique forms of expression, writing or thinking. Forward thinking financial opportunities, from a market perspective or portfolio perspective, like getting into cryptocurrencies or investing into tech startups for some of you, because Uranus supports innovation and technology here, especially if you're taking a smart, calculated risk here with something that's a little bit revolutionary. Uranus will support those types of investments. Uranus is volatile though, so again, be cautious and be careful with what you're choosing. And personal financial independence is what this is really encouraging on the longer transit scheme here. So breaking free from traditional forms of financial support for all Geminis over the next 7 years or so, opting for more unconventional ways of generating income like freelancing or starting your own business, as these transits impact you in different ways. As it moves through the 30 degrees of Gemini, you all will experience this in some way, shape, or form. And it's meant to liberate you guys. Now, September 7th, we'll have a full moon eclipse in Pisces in your 10th house of career, public life, and reputation. So, a full moon eclipse can have two effects, where it can end a career phase, but because it's a full moon, it can be bringing something to fruition, okay, showing you something. And so we can see a promotion, public recognition of the work that you've been doing, or even a decision to step down from a current role to pursue a new path. So this can be a lateral move, a new career, signifying the end of a particular job or stage in your career as well. So if you haven't been happy, Geminis, you might decide to leave and pursue a more fulfilling role. Even if you've been happy, it might just be time to move on for something bigger, better, and greater for you. Now, public recognition again looks like as an indirect effect on increased income or potential financial bonuses for some of you as well, which looks nice there. Then on the 21st of September, we have the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo in your 4th house. That talks about home, family, real estate, vehicles, and just all the things that you hold private as a sense of nurturing for yourself. Okay, so this could be new beginnings in real estate. Some of you might decide to invest in a property or into real estate. If you already have a home, this might be investing in the home that you have, or starting a home-based business or business related to home-based ventures. Okay, and for some of you, this can look like family wealth matters, bringing new opportunities to grow family wealth, maybe hiring one of your children if that's the position you're in, or working for a family member, or maybe getting money through inheritance, property investments, or joint family members. Real estate ventures can look really good here. So this could be flipping houses, investing in rentals, or looking at how can long-term gains from property investments benefit you. And particularly if you have a good 6th house and 8th house, I really like having tenants or real estate for people with that type of dynamic. You can book a session with me if you want me to dive into those dynamics more as well. But what we're seeing here for the year for Geminis is really good opportunities for personal financial growth, expanding income through real estate, entrepreneurial ventures, and really just being careful with your long-term investments and speculative ventures. You can check out my yearly report for different stocks and ETFs and sectors that I vetted with financial astrology that will likely perform the best. And Jupiter's influence in your 2nd house will bring financial opportunities, while Uranus's influence is really going to help promote financial independence for you guys. So it's looking good to me. With that, have a great year. Good luck, Geminis. One love. Peace.